Hi Cassitiac Samler. Welcome back to Tom Plays Europa Universalis 4 for absolute beginners. We're back with the Ottomans. Let's just start the clock. And even though we've cleaned most stuff up, there's quite a lot of war aftermath still to go at. A lot of rebuilding to do, so I'm not sure how much attacking we're likely to be doing. I believe that Kyunlu is currently trying to take down the rest of Karaman after we weaken them. Our allies have conveniently taken some land that we wanted. We really need to be keeping an eye on the Mamluks. I'd like to vassalize Cyprus. You are currently guaranteed by the Mamluks, which is a good reason to vassalize them. We also should be trying to think about making a move against Venice. Although Albania has got quite large. Oh, handy. Very handy. They're all allied together. You can do something with that. Still, I am wondering whether it's a good idea to actually make a move right now, or whether it might be a good idea just to stay put for a bit. I see that Kyunlu are still willing to join in an attack. Mildly annoying. Karakuyanlu, apologies for butchering these names, they're not very good allies, are they? They haven't been willing to join in a single war so far. Post of cavalry, Janissaries. Well, we've got no option. And we should try to keep the Janissaries on board if we possibly can. Just going to check income, which is high, which is good. We do have a spare diplomat. It looks like Bohemia might be willing to join in with a few things. I'm just going to send a diplomat over there. I think we have one currently working on our other allies. We might just speed the time up. Because we could really do with rebuilding a little. Okay, we've lost a general. Unfortunately, we've lost our best general. Go through claiming our land. Gain the technology. Still working on making cores. Okay, I see. Okay, so over here, the Reconquista has totally finished now. Spain has managed to drive all Muslims from the Iberian Peninsula. So we are certainly going to invite them to the Ottomans. Of course, no problem. Okay, one of our diplomats has finished. And something else has happened. Let's just slow this right down again. Have a look. Okay. No problem. Military access, not usually an issue. Okay. So our ally Karakuyanlu has apparently... Was it at Kyunlu? No, it's maybe just that these guys have succeeded. Are they still willing to join in a war? They are. Not helpful. We're also expecting a rebel uprising. Well, no prizes for guessing where the Wallachian separatists will turn up. It does actually tell you though, if you hover over here. Altenia. You can see all our other separatists. Okay, well, we should really get another general. Even if they're not any good, they're better than nothing. Ooh, interesting. Right, we need to look at that. But let's move someone into position. Now, one thing that's worth checking is the size of your army versus the supply limit of the area you're moving into. It's not a big problem here because our army isn't actually that big. But here the supply limit's 31, which is bigger than our 18 army, so we can safely move them there. If you move an army to a place with a supply limit smaller than your army, a little skull will appear and they'll start losing troops, which is not what you want, ideally. Okay, Cyprus. So we have got plus 70 with complete improved relations. Well, I think we do have room for another diplomatic relation. So I'm going to offer them an alliance. Still not sure if we're going to be able to vassalize them. Just think about it. So the remaining things we can do to help vassalize someone, we can't do a royal marriage because they're Christians, Roman Catholics. We can offer military access, which I think will give them an extra 10. Well, also, we can't even vassalize them yet. So we may as well hold our horses for a bit, but we'll keep them as an ally. That's fine. Right. Improved trade income versus money. Improved trade income and diplomatic power. I think generally diplomatic power is more valuable than money. And we'll probably get money from this anyway, so let's go for the long-term investment. So I'm still hoping at some point in the future I can vassalize them. We don't have that far to go. We still haven't, I don't think, finished coring Easel. So maybe the distance between borders will go down considerably. Might still not be enough, but we'll see. Our economic base will go up if we conquer a few more countries. Okay, we're still... Oh, there we go. We've now finished. Okay, so if we make that a full core, I'm going to try to core a couple more areas. So Cyprus, vassalization. Well, it's still not great. Okay, well, we'll leave them be. If necessary, we can always go back on that and go with conquest instead. We're going to be fighting the Mamluks sooner or later. They're our main rivals at the moment in the Muslim world. Although, to be fair, our allies here are gearing up to be quite powerful as well. Okay, who else do we have? Still Albania is a possibility. Bohemia will help. And we've apparently fulfilled... Oh, trustworthy allies. Brilliant. So acquire subjects as soon as we vassalize someone else, assuming we don't take these guys over completely, we will fulfill this mission. Also, the high income mission I don't usually worry about. It tends to go up anyway. Especially as your country increases, as your technology level increases, you're pretty much bound to fulfill this one, so I tend to ignore it and focus on the next one, which is all about temples and workshops, mosques in our case, and workshops. We have enough mosques already, but I don't think we have the technology to build workshops yet, and we probably won't have it for a while. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. So Look at this uprising. It's only going to be 10k, so we shouldn't have a problem taking them down. The Karamese separatists might be a different matter. So another thing, well, we need to think about the size of our armies anyway. Oh, this looks good. We're almost back up to full strength. Excellent. Let's just raise the time again. Who have we got? Returning scholars again. Absolutely yes. As before. Absolutely yes. We definitely want them. So we're now actually getting some manpower. They should disappear fairly shortly. Caught a spy. Oh, this is interesting. This tends to happen. They are claiming the areas that we took from the Byzantines. Now, the only option is this means war. It doesn't really mean war, it just gives us an extra reason for war, which I'm probably not going to take advantage of, to be fair. Much as I intend to attack Venice anyway. I'm not sure it actually gives us much that we didn't already want. And it looks to me like we'll have a better chance of taking on Venice if we attack Albania, to be honest. They have less allies. So we can probably still get some land, speaking of. Yes, we do have claims on some of their land. So that's certainly an option. So another thing we should look at doing is, because we've taken more land, we've probably got a higher military force limit. So if we just check that on the military screen, we can now have an extra 9 units. Brilliant. So we stick with the same concept of always having 4 cavalry. We got to make some more units, and we're still not able to make any guns. So if we can have an extra 9. Then we can just jolly well wait until our manpower improves. So we need 7,000 manpower. Okay. Decide the fate of a Christian patriarch. Right, now this goes back to what I said right at the beginning. I'm planning to run the Ottomans as a place where anyone can live, so I'm going to be quite open about allowing people to practice their own religion, much as I'd like to convert everyone, and it's just, honestly, the benefits are just so worth it. So yes, we are letting the Patriarchate stay. Mamluks are making claims on us, that's not a tremendous surprise. Still waiting for these rebels to rise. Okay, so we finished improving relations with our allies. Albania are making a claim. We finished coring a couple of places. Just finish the rest, which will allow us to make some progress. Oh, this is fun. I've got 3 lots of separatists, all with 80% chance of rising up. Okay, so the Byzantines are going to show up in Atina, which is there. Karamese could show up anywhere in what used to be Karaman. Wonderful. Just wonderful. Right, I better make some more troops down here, avoiding the lands where they're likely to rise up. Just give us some extra chances of taking them down. Another spy. And there we go. Okay, let's pause for a second. Right, well that's good. The Wallachians have risen first. So, normally this would be bad news. We're attacking them over a river, they have a defensive position. But our generals are the same, and we have twice as many people. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to be okay. It's one of the problems with increasing the speed of the clock. We've already managed to take it. It looks like we're doing fine. So there are no forts, so we'll have to stay put to retake the land. Once we have, we should probably head down to somewhere near Athena. The reason I'm going into the province next to them rather than the actual province is that sitting in the province can slow down or prevent the rebellion, but if it only slows it down, it means another rebellion is likely to fire first. In a lot of ways, it's better to let it fire, attack them, and then they'll kind of retreat for another, I don't know, 30 years or however long it takes. Hopefully things will calm down eventually. Someone else spying, wonderful. So we will have this on the 15th of May. There we go. So with the same thing in mind, I'm going to move next door to Athena, checking the supply limit, although either's fine. Okay, now I had actually forgotten about this. We do have an option once we've reached 500 ducats to become the Defender of the Faith. This, there are benefits. You get an extra missionary, you get extra morale, you get extra prestige, you do lose some ability to get technology. I tend to play this depending on how I'm playing the country. In this case, I want the Ottomans to be like the bastion of Islam in this area. So I'm going to go for it. Make the most of your advantages. It also means I can send out more missionaries now, which might actually help with all the unrest. We'll see. But yeah, the big drawback is that if anyone who isn't, I think specifically a Sunni Muslim, is attacked, which can include my enemies, including the Mamluks, they can actually call on me to help defend them, to join in the war on their side, which often isn't what you want if it's one of your enemies, but there you go. It has to be attacked by someone who isn't a Sunni Muslim. But ironically, I could end up fighting Karakoyunlu on the side of my enemies, but we'll see how it goes. You can still refuse. You'll simply lose your position as Defender of the Faith and a certain amount of prestige. Should not have built a unit there, there's going to be an uprising. That's a bit silly. No, actually, not got enough money. That's a first for me. Okay, brilliant. So I definitely want to move this unit out of there as soon as they're built. So I don't want them being swamped by a rebellion. Hopefully we'll be getting somewhere close to the position where we can attack people. Unfortunately, this is probably going to be the most boring episode so far. So all I'm doing is preparing and repairing. Completely failed to notice that my navy is still sat in the ocean. Which will be which means they've taken a certain amount of damage. Wonderful. Great attention to detail there. Okay, so we now have, I think, 25 people in total. Sorry, 45. So making states, hopefully finishing off coring, and we can start working towards national ideas. Okay, just want to check my force limit again, so I can have up to 47 and I've currently got 45. Okay, so that's 2 more as our infantry. I almost feel like I should wait for these rebellions to rise again. Austria's embraced Renaissance, which is the next thing we're going to be hoping to do. At this stage it should just be a question of accumulating enough money, as far as we're concerned. There we go. Caramari separatists. Now I'm hoping that doesn't count as crossing a river, but I haven't actually checked, so this battle may be a lot closer than I'm hoping for. Still. No, looks like we're fine. That's good. That time the clock was moving slowly enough, we didn't even lose the land in the first place. One option you do get for separatists, there are 3 options to handling them. Accept demands you absolutely don't want to do. They're separatists, they want to become a separate country. That would undo all the hard work we've done. Harsh treatment will reduce the uprising progress. This is almost pointless. It wastes 50 military power, and we just, yeah, it only slows them down very temporarily. So you'd only do it if you really, really didn't want an uprising at that moment, usually if you're in the middle of a war or something. Or perhaps if you've got tons of military points to spare, which is beginning to look like we do. But even then, I can think of better things to do with them. Yeah, we are quite ahead, aren't we? Not to worry. So we're just about ready for the last uprising. And we need to work out whom to attack next. Finish the Knights, and we get Bohemia to help us. Trebizond and that Kayunla joins in, and Karakayunla still doesn't join in because they're completely useless as an ally. In the meantime, that Kayunlu does have some problems of her own. I have to say, I'm feeling inclined towards Albania and Venice. Okay, so we have, I think, 24 in that army. So you see Sofia, in fact a few of these aren't a very good option for an attack. Looks like Vidin is though. Supply limit 25, so we can just about manage that. Just gain some nice military technology. Improved our cavalry this time. So if this final uprising would just fire, we could maybe get on with things. On the plus side, all this time we're gaining manpower. Spies, spies, spies. Many, many spies. And we just lost a general. Actually, I think there's This one might be marginally better. Are these guys ever actually going to rebel? I know I'm sort of all ready to put you down and stuff. There we go. I thought you guys were never going to move. Brilliant. So, hopefully... finished a conversion, which is good. Might prevent this sort of thing from happening as much in the future. Okay, so this group has a top limit of 23. So either of these will do fine. Going to set off another attempt at conversion. These take a very long time, but we seem to have the money. Oh yeah, we definitely have the money. Yeah, this is interesting. I swear we'd already asked for a contribution. When... be able to use this again... yeah, that's going to be next year, so we don't want to mess up with that. I think, very sadly, I'm actually going to have to call it there. So, sorry it's such an extremely tedious episode. It's just occasionally you do find that you have to rest and recuperate and build your army back up. So what I'm planning is, right at the start of next week, I'm going to attempt to attack Albania. Thankfully it looks like Bohemia is willing to join in on our side, and they can often be quite powerful. So hopefully they'll be able to counteract Venice a bit. It's worth noting with Venice that they're also here, and they also have Corfu as a vassal, so they're also here. Also the knights are going to join in who are here, so I'm expecting attacks from all sides. Venice's navy is huge, so my navy is going to stay put, but we'll hopefully be able to trounce them on land. Maybe even get a little bit of help from our vassal down here. It's, yeah, it's not guaranteed, but they are the easiest of our rivals, and we're going to take them on sometime. And the fact we're attacking Albania means they don't get to call in all of their allies. Which, to be fair, only includes Aragon. But Aragon, I believe, has Naples as a vassal, so we really don't want to fight Aragon and Naples as well, if we can avoid it. But that's going to have to be for next week, so thank you for bearing with me through this. Tedious, but it's something to bear in mind when you're playing, that you probably shouldn't attack. It's good to have this at least above 0. I mean, really, in a perfect world, I'd want it up to 42,000 before I attack. But as it is, I'm probably going to risk it. But we'll see. Anyway, that's it. I will see you next week.